All right. Everybody ready? All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the regular meeting of the Select Board's licensing panel. Which to lay things out how this works. The Select Board's the chief executive body here in Brookline. They have the licensing authority. It's our job to kind of review applications for licenses or disputes over licenses in advance. If the issue is, and hold any public hearings that need to be held. If the issue is resolved, is there no further action needs to be taken, we can recommend approval of a license or, closure of a violation notice to the Select Board. They would take that up at their next meeting, which would be next Tuesday. If there's still something outstanding that we have to deal with, if there are objections from members of the public that need to be addressed or anything else, then what we do is we usually continue the hearing or continue the process, and we ask folks to come back on next Tuesday night just to address those things. So again, if everything is clear, there's nothing additional that needs to be done, you don't have to come back on Tuesday night, and it can be all taken care of. If there are things that need to be addressed, then we do ask folks to come back on that Tuesday night, and the Select Board will make the final decision on what's going on there. So again, thank you all, and we'll get moving through this process. First, there is a public comment period. If folks wish to speak to the panel on items that do not have a public hearing listed or are not on the agenda at all, that's what this miscellaneous public comment period is for. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. We ask that you identify yourself by your full name and either your address or your Brookline precinct number. You don't need to put your camera on if you're online, but we ask that you do, just as a courtesy. It's not an opportunity for a back and forth engagement. It is really public comment, but if there are questions that come up during public comment, we will try and get you an answer offline. With that, I will open the public comment period. Members of the public wish to be heard on anything that's not on the agenda or isn't listed on the agenda for a public hearing. Please use the hand raise feature if you're online, and raise your hand if you're in the room. Okay. Seeing none, thank you. We'll close that period. The next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from February 18th, 2026. Any corrections to those, members of the panel?
The only thing that I'll remark, and I remarked this to you earlier, that the web address for the full policy for public comment in this minutes is incorrect. So,
I did update that on the Select Board agenda, so I'll take care of that for licensing as well.
Thanks for that correction. So with that correction, we'll move to accept those minutes. All in favor, Rochelle Morrison?
Aye.
Mikey Rubenstein?
Aye.
Jonathan Simpson? Aye. And I will vote aye. Thank you. All right. Next, there's a petition for grant of location on Summit Avenue. Question of approving the petition of Verizon New England for permission to construct and a location for an underground conduit in Summit Avenue, running northeasterly and southeasterly from pole P1A opposite Appleton Road, distance of about 125 feet to manhole MH38/386. Who do we have on this application?
Good morning. This is Ranjita Prabhu, representing Verizon New England.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about this work that needs to be done?
So this is a continuation of the petition from last month. As per requested, we have submitted a traffic management plan as requested by the committee. So that will be followed during the construction process.
Excellent. I see that traffic management plan here. Seems clear. Any concerns or issues from staff? All right. This is a public hearing. Members of the public wish to be heard on this application. You can use the raise the hand feature if you're online, or raise your hand if you're in the room. Seeing none. All right, we can close the public hearing. I think we can recommend approval of this on the board's miscellaneous agenda. Thank you for taking care of that traffic management plan. I know that it was a delay, but it makes a big difference. So we really appreciate your doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Next, another granted location It's a public hearing, question of approving the petition of N-Star Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for permission to construct a location for an underground conduit in St. Mary Street, running southerly from manhole 17753 south of Beacon Street, a distance of about 395 feet to manhole 8928 via manhole 8927, and re-roof manhole 8928 with 2 roof openings. Who do we have on this application?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, good morning, this is Chanel Grant with Eversource Energy. And yes, we have on St. Mary Street, we are installing 2 brand new manholes and approximately 395 feet of conduit. And that's from Beacon Street. Let's see, from the corner of 999 Beacon Street at St. Mary's all the way down to number 142 St. Mary Street.
Okay, I see this is it's for a lengthy, pretty lengthy amount of time. You know, it's a 4-week period.
Yeah.
Is this work being phased?
Well, this work is to upgrade the system for conversions.
Right. I guess what I'm asking is the work on the street being phased, right? Like, you're not going to close down the whole length of the project. You're going to close down things one at a time.
Right. No, we're not closing down the entire street. We'll have a police detail out there to direct the traffic, and the truck will be probably parked at 2 meters. And as they complete one section of the road, they will move down to the next section.
Got it. So it's one lane. You're not closing the street.
No, we are definitely not closing the street. It's 2 lanes.
It's two.
Two
Yeah.
lanes.
Right.
Yeah, it's a 2-way street, and then
Yeah.
and then we're just gonna, dig the trench and just continue to move down to each section and have
Okay.
the traffic go around.
Other questions from members of the panel? All right, this is a public hearing. Members of the public wish to be heard on this application. You may raise your hand, or if you're in the room, or you use the raise hand feature if you're online. Seeing none. All right, we can close that public hearing and we can recommend approval of this on the board's main agenda, the miscellaneous agenda. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Grant.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Next on the agenda are a series of violation hearings. For all but one of these, it was an issue of not submitting a renewal application by the deadline. So I just want to give some background and hopefully we can work through this. The renewal application process in Brookline is yearly, as many of you know. This year, because of transition to electronic system, we've been trying to give folks grace and we've been moving through that process. If you are here on this, it's because either we didn't hear from you at all, or we heard from you a little late, and your application was not progressing because of issues that were not on our end. I understand that since these letters went out last month, several of the applications are either coming into compliance or are in compliance, which is good. That's what we've noticed the hearings, so we have to move forward with those hearings. So we'll have that discussion, make sure that if you've done the paperwork and it's being reviewed by a town department, you can have a little more time to move through that process. If you haven't done the paperwork, we just need to know why, and we need to know what the timing is for getting that taken care of, because it is really important that our licenses be renewed promptly. And we're in March now. If you are here on a lodging house, if you received a letter regarding a lodging house, those hearings have been continued to next month. So if you were here on a lodging house matter, please, we will follow up with you to rejoin for next month. But the hearings this month are limited
With
to
the exception of the lodging agent.
I'm sorry, for the lodging agent on Marion Street. That's not a violation hearing. I'm sorry. If you received a violation notice for a lodging house, those matters will be taken up next month. Again, we just want to be clear for folks' sake, that what we're dealing with today is the restaurant licenses, victualler, entertainment, outdoor dining vendor. So we'll go through all of these. We'll talk about where the applications are. And then we will we'll see what needs to happen there. Hopefully, everyone is on the right track. And we will be able to check back in with you and get these applications settled up. So let's begin with common visual licensee Painted Borough. The issue there is not submitting a renewal application by the 2026 deadline. Who do we have from Painted Borough? Good morning.
Good morning.
What can you tell us about the situation? I know they're going to fire. What can you tell us about the situation at Painted Borough?
I apologize. I wasn't aware that the information wasn't submitted on time. I thought that we were, before the fire, that all the paperwork had been submitted. So I think that maybe it was a miscommunication on our end.
Okay.
I thought we had submitted the stuff in the portal as well as like delivered the stuff to town hall, the checks and application. So I'm actually just, I'm not sure what it is that we're missing.
Rochelle, can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, we haven't received the application. After the meeting, if you want to contact me, we can discuss further, like what the next steps are. And we can figure out, what the miscommunication is on both ends, because I haven't received anything.
Sure. I'm sorry about that. So this is it's for the liquor license. I think I'm confused as well. I'm sorry.
It's not for the liquor license. You guys submitted all required documentation for the liquor license, so you guys are updated on that end. As far as the common victular, entertainment, and outdoor seating licenses, which is now combined into one, we have not received any paperwork.
That might
Okay,
be.
I apologize. I thought that had been sent through the portal, and I'm not sure if maybe we didn't finish sending it or what had happened. So I'll touch base with you after to make sure that we get this rectified.
Sounds great.
That's great. So what we'll do is we'll continue this to next month. And if it's resolved, we'll send you a letter saying it's been resolved and you won't have to come back. You don't have to come to the select board next week. We'll give you a month to sort this out. And then if for some reason there are still issues, we'll see you again at this panel next month to see where we are.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Next, Plant Burger. Who do we have on Plant Burger?
I'm Michael. I work at Plant Burger.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
What can you tell us about the renewal application here?
We changed CEOs. I think the email was going to his old email.
Okay.
I've done the application since then, and I think we're pretty.
Are we squaring away?
So we are waiting for fire approval and building, but however, Planet Burger, when they got the violation letter, they handed in they submitted their application online.
Great. Thank you for the update there. Let's do what we did there on Painted Borough as well. Let's just, we'll say, if for some reason this is not taken care of, you come back next month, but if it is, we'll let you know and you don't have to come back.
Cool. And did you need any documents from the fire department from me or?
No, if I were you, I'll just kind of touch base with them to maybe you might need to get an inspection
Okay.
along with the building department, because they require separate paperwork from our department.
Okay.
So the building department's on the third floor.
Okay.
You can ask for Kristen Curtis, and for fire department, you can just call the number that's online.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
And you have my number too, so you can
Okay.
reach out.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Next up is Village Pizza House. Who do you have with Village Pizza House? Hey, sir, how are you? Please let me know where you are in your application process here.
I got in touch with Rick 2 days ago and then emailed Kristen from her office. And I think we're all set. We settled with the health department. They gave us.
Okay.
So we're waiting for fire to approve and building department, as well. We're just waiting for Sam's certificate of insurance. He's been reaching out to his representative, and they're in the process. So we're just waiting for approval from fire, which I believe you probably contacted them,
Yes,
and the building department.
yes.
So they have submitted as soon as they're in the process.
Yeah, I satisfied with the building department.
Okay, good. So we'll do the same thing we've done with the previous two. If this is all taken care of, you don't have to come back next month. If for some reason there's still something outstanding, we'll ask you to come back. But, so we'll work together to try and get this taken care of. Thank you. Thank you.
Liability issues with the complicated.
I know, yes, this is all complicated. We appreciate everyone coming out.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sam.
for the help.
Yep. Next, party favor. Who's here with party favor?
John.
Hi, how are you?
I live in Brookline, 45 York Terrace, never left. Bought the house across the street that I was born in, so I've been here 62 years, so I love Brookline.
Glad to have you. I'm sorry, now you get to see the bureaucracy of the process.
Yeah.
But we didn't get an application from.
Yeah, it was totally our fault. I've been away from the business for a couple of years. I was in rehab and some issues I had living with sober living, and I'm back.
Mhm.
So for the last 2 years, my wife is trying to hold the whole thing together herself. It's a lot.
Understood.
So we have all the information you need, insurance certificate.
We spoke.
Yeah, I got that. I got a check to give you when we get through with everything, so we should be all settled up.
Yep, so we're after, I spoke to John
Yep.
yesterday. And I told him to contact me or see me after the hearing.
Got it.
So we can get everything situated and rectified. They have renewed for quite some time, so I just want to get them caught up so that you can be in compliance.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I brought no cupcakes.
We can't take bribes, sorry. But we want to be respectful of people's businesses, you gotta, now you know.
35 years.
Yeah, we want to make sure folks stay, but it means we gotta make sure you're keeping your license updated yearly.
Thanks.
So
It's only on me. So I'll take, I can't blame my wife. She's holding it.
So we'll do the same thing. If there's anything outstanding, come back next month. We'll send you a letter if everything's squared away.
Okay, so I'll just wait for you when we go upstairs.
Yep.
I'll just hang out here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Next, 7 subs. Who do we have on this application? 7 subs. Going once. Going twice. Okay, 7 subs is not appeared. We've given them the due notice. I think the recommendation to the select board is that business be deemed closed. And we'll send it.
They haven't reached out to you.
They haven't reached out, we personally,
I know he's on vacation. He's in Kentucky or something.
Is he?
um,
Do you know an address, a way to get in touch with him?
I can call, because he's my neighbor.
I would, right, if you would do that for us.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Tell him because the next step would be closing down.
Yeah.
So,
we have no information in the system.
yeah,
I'll call. Next we get through.
tell him next week at the select board. That he's got, at the very least, if he's got a lawyer, if he's got a friend, if he's got someone who can come and explain what's going on, because that's kind of the last chance.
Yeah, no problem. I'll talk to him today. Once I get through for sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next, Mariachi Select. This is slightly different. There was an issue from the fire department. Who do we have from Mariachi? Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm here on behalf of the owner who wine in Connecticut. Then she's in Japan on business trip for quite some time in and out of countries. So she probably missed the email. That's what she claims. And then she called me this morning and then sent me over here.
Okay,
So,
so you don't know it. Do you know anything about the issue?
well, only thing I know is the letter that she sent it to her,
Mhm.
and she brought it to me, so I have a copy of it, so I am aware of what is going on. So at this point, I'd like to know what needs to be done, and I will step in and then resolve the problems.
So there's a hood, one of the hoods, over the
Kitchen
Over the
area,
kitchen, the kitchen area, the fire department inspected it and it
Okay.
failed inspection. And that's a life safety issue. That needs to be resolved as soon as possible.
understood. We happen to have two stores on the same street,
Yes,
299 Harvard, or 306 doesn't have. to.
299.
it's $2.99, yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna ask someone from our, it doesn't have to be you, but someone from the business to come next week to the select board, and to explain what's being done there, because we really
So
do need that
once-
fixed.
Everything's clean up. Probably they will give us a certification or labels.
So yeah, the fire department will, once you've corrected the issues, the fire department will come and re-inspect it.
Understood.
So, but it's probably not going to be in a week's time, but I do, because this is a life safety issue, we need to know that you're doing it. So if you can make sure that someone is at the select board meeting next week, which is Tuesday night, You'll see, we'll continue this public hearing. You'll see a time on the agenda that says when to come. If you have any questions or if someone from the business has any questions, you can always call Rochelle in the licensing office. We can walk you through what needs to be done, but
Do
it
I need
does.
to call the fire department? It happened to be around the corner. from-
Yes, once the issue with the hood is taken care of, call the fire department and ask to be re-inspected.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll see you next week. All right, so we'll continue that here until next week, until the select board on Tuesday. All right, that's it for the violations. Again, if you were here for a lodging house or other type of license, those will be heard next month in April. Thank you for your time. Next, we have item 6 on the agenda, which is a number of applications for a change. Change of the application, change of manager of record. At 195 Washington Street, which is Brookline Sky Inc., DBA Omori. The change will be from Shenrong Huang to Young Lee. The change in ownership of corporation. The change of officers, directors, and LLC managers, again, from Brookline Sky, DBA Omori, same address, and then the application for a transfer in stock for Brookline Sky, DBA Omori, same address. Who do we have on this application?
Hi, yes. Good morning. This is Attorney Carl Wong representing the applicant, Brookline Sky Inc. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Attorney. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us. I believe we have the proposed manager, Young Lind, also in the Zoom, and another owner, Henderson, is also in the Zoom. Basically, this is a sale of stock to 2 existing shareholders, and then also change of the liquor license and officers and managers. The proposed liquor manager, Young Lind, he has been working at this restaurant for the last, I believe, at least over 5 years. He's the assistant manager, so he's very well versed the operations of the restaurant and the rules and regulations pertaining to the ABCC rules and regulations and the Town of Brookline regulations pertaining to the sales of liquor. He's a Massachusetts resident. He's a U.S. citizen. He has been in the restaurant business for over, I think, 10 years. Any questions? There's no change in operations whatsoever. So
That's great. And Mr. Lin, there was the police department reached out to you to schedule a liquor interview. Have you had that yet, or are you going to have it? Oh, you're on mute, sir. Sorry.
Hey, Kelvin, can you hear us?
Yeah, it looks like they're troubleshooting, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw the email from the police department too. They know about it. In the meantime, I just double confirm with my clients their ID policies. Whoever walks in and order a liquor, they will ask to check the ID. I mean, I walk in, I obviously look older than 21, and they'll check my ID. So
It's good to hear. And yes, you mentioned that he's crowd certified and all of that, which is good. Well, Mr. Lin, I see you've got, you're off mute. There you go.
okay.
So I received police. I just received police
I'm sorry, we couldn't understand you. Could you just repeat yourself? Sorry.
I just received police
Yes, yeah, the police interview. Have you done that yet?
fingerprint.
Okay, yeah, just the fingerprinting. Okay, so just make sure that if they still need to speak with you, that you get that taken care of this week if you could. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure that he talks to the police and get the interview done this week.
Thanks very much. All right, I think pending the completion of that interview, we can recommend approval of this on the board's
I
miscellaneous.
just note one thing, the agenda has his name as Young Lee, L-I, and it looks as though his name is Young Lin. I'm not sure if that's a typo in the
Yeah,
agenda.
it wasn't a typo. I will make sure to fix that.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a scrivener's error. We can correct that. Thank you for the flag. All right, we'll recommend approval of this on the board's miscellaneous agenda. Thank you, Attorney Wong. Thank you, Mr. Booth.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, a new all alcohol package store license. Question of approving an all alcohol package store license for Brookline Wine LLC at 27 Harvard Street, Brookline, Maine. The proposed manager will be Nicholas Lazotto, and the proposed alternate manager will be Nathan Derry. Who do we have on this application?
这个
Good morning, Stephanie Boudreau from our law for Brookline Wine LLC, and with me is Nicholas Soto, the owner of the LLC and the proposed manager of record.
Great. What can you tell us about the application and the new license?
Sure, thanks. So just by way of background, Nick moved to Massachusetts in 2016. He was a sommelier and wine director at various clubs and restaurants. In 2020, he came to Brookline and opened Sorriso Vino at the same location at 27 Harvard Street, where he operated a highly successful wine shop for several years. He also owned and operated Sorriso Arcade, which was the arcade building in Coolidge Corner. In 2023, Nick and his family decided to move abroad to start a new business and to kind of take things in a different direction. But unfortunately, due to health reasons and some other personal reasons, they ended up moving back to the States and have, you know, we're so in love with Brookline, really, and the business that they started here that they wanted to come back and do it again. So they're here to reopen 27 Harvard as Brookline Wine and are very committed to the community and to bringing the location back to life. His plan, as it was before, was to open a curated wine shop focusing on less popular international regions, bringing value and great wine to Brookline. He plans to use local craft breweries and sell unique craft beer selections. This shop will have a focus on organic ingredients and unique flavors. Nick is tip certified. He'll be the manager of record. The alternate manager of record will be Nathan Derry, who's also tip certified and has a fingerprinting appointment on Monday morning with the police. The space is set up as a wine shop. It has been used as a wine shop for the last many years, so there's no renovations necessary or anticipated. Deliveries will be made on the weekdays between the hours of 11 and 2. They'll be made by commercial vehicles right on Harvard Street. Should not take up traffic. Will be using the parking spaces available. Litter, the wine shop is served by the town, and Nick will take any measures that are necessary to ensure that there are no issues with trash buildup. In sum, Nick is excited to return to Brookline and welcomes the opportunity to answer any questions the board might have. Thanks.
Any questions from members of the panel?
So this is a new license, notwithstanding the fact it used to be Sorriso. That license for the location was,
I believe it lapsed. Yeah,
and then
transferred and then it lapsed, is my understanding. Is that right, Mr. Drew?
That's correct, yes. So yes, it's a new alcohol license. It's not a transfer.
I noticed that I received I have not received the tip certification for Nathan. I received a sales permit and I think it's a transportation and delivery permit.
Yep, I sent the tips over to Noah Brother this morning, to Lieutenant Brother, and I will send it to you as well, Rochelle. Sorry, I didn't see you on that.
All right, so I think pending the completion of that interview and the getting the tip certification over to our office, we can recommend approval of this as part of the board's miscellaneous agenda.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really
Welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
so much.
All right, next, a new common victualler license at 390, I'm sorry, nope. No. Ms. Boudreau, I'm sorry, I realized that was a public hearing and I need to, so I reopen that item briefly and open the public hearing before we move forward on this. I apologize.
No, no worries.
And it's a public hearing because it's an all alcohol license. So this is a public hearing. Members of the public wish to be heard on this application. Please raise your hand if you're in the room or use the hand raise feature on Zoom. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Subject to the same conditions, we can recommend approval. Apologies for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, new common victualler. Question of approving a new common vic entertainment outdoor dining license for HDR Holding Massachusetts, DBA Wonder, 392 Harvard Street. The hours of operation entertainment will be Sunday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Seating will consist of 13 inside dining seats with no operation of outdoor dining. Who do we have on this application?
Good morning, Stephanie Boudreau on behalf of HDR Holding of Massachusetts LLC, doing business as Wonder. I'm also joining me is Jason Botcher, who is the one of the directors over at HDR and will be the manager of record at the inception for the Brookline location.
All right, what can you tell me about Wonder's operations?
Thank you. So we're here to request the approval of a CV and entertainment license for Wonder to be exercised at 329 Harvard Street. As I mentioned, Jason Botcher is here. He's the proposed manager, and he's going to give a brief presentation to describe the Wonder concept, since it is relatively novel, and answer any questions the board might have. As a quick overview, the restaurant concept Wonder is new hybrid between a food hall and delivery platform. Each location is designed to be many restaurants in one kitchen. And at any location, you can order food from dozens of restaurants and different restaurant brands. So I'm going to turn it over to Jason for his presentation, and then I'll return to give you any details and answer any questions.
Stephanie, can I just interrupt 1 second? The address of the business, is it 392 or 329 Harvard Street?
I have 329, 392.
Yeah.
392. Okay, thank you.
All right. Yep. I just
All
wrote
right.
it down, my dyslexia.
If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible for everybody.
I need to authorize you to do that. Hold on. All right, so I think you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. Let me know if you can see. Perfect. All right, thank you, everybody. Like Stephanie had mentioned, I'm Jason Botcher. I'm a director of land use and entitlements for Wonder. And happy to be here with you all this morning. I'm just going to give you a quick high level of who we are at Wonder if you're not familiar and what we're doing and how we approach the business. So Wonder is a relatively new concept or a new take on quick serve restaurants. And we've been expanding throughout the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast over the last 2 to 3 years. We've opened about 108 or 109 locations. I think it'll be up to 112 today or tomorrow rather, over the last 2.5 to 3 years, including 8 locations as of tomorrow in Boston and Greater Boston, with another 15 or so planned for 2026. Beyond that, we'll start to expand further west into Massachusetts, up into New Hampshire, possibly Maine, and we have a few locations, Connecticut and Rhode Island as well. The way we differentiate ourselves in the market and in the business, what sets us apart is our strategy. What we do is we partner with chefs and restaurants from across the country, and we work with those chefs and those restaurants to reproduce their cuisines and their menu items in our kitchens using our production techniques. This includes a lot of names that you may all know. Celebrity chefs like Michael Simon and Bobby Flay, for example, are 2 of our partners. And then best-in-class restaurants across any number of cuisines. I always mention DeFara when I'm doing meetings up in the Boston area because they're out of Brooklyn and I'm a New York guy, so I can't help it. But Fred's Meat and Bread out of Atlanta, which is an incredibly well-known and celebrated restaurant down in Atlanta. And then we have a number of different types of cuisines that we develop in-house. We have an incredible group of chefs that work on our R&D team, for example, that have put together some great menus that we make available out of each location as well. In terms of how we operate and how we interact with our customer base, we're very tech forward, and we have been since our inception. So a majority of our orders do come through our mobile app, where you can order from different restaurants on one cart, for example. So the intent here and the strategy is to give every household the opportunity to get everything that everybody wants. And so the fact that we order any number of cuisines, I'm sure you've all been through the same situation where somebody wants pizza, somebody wants Chinese, somebody wants a steak, and you don't want to order from 3 different places. So somebody has to compromise. If you're ordering from Wonder, there's no compromise. You're able to get just about anything you would want, from pizza to Thai to steak, and everything in between, all in one cart, delivered out of our restaurant location. With that, you can also, we do have other availability or other amenities built in for pickup and delivery. So, this location being located on Harvard, it's going to get a lot of foot traffic. So we expect there to be some decent pass-through traffic and people walking in. We do have self-serve kiosks if you want to order inside or on site. And we do provide all of the amenities for customers in that regard. In terms of the location itself, 392 Harvard, I'm sure you're all very familiar with this location. It previously hosted catering by Andrew. And we're looking to fit out, or we just about wrapping up fitting out the entirety of this location. So the space itself is about 3,500 square feet. It's to the rear is that public lot. I believe it's the Fuller lot, if I remember correct. Right to the rear, and there is street parking along Harvard. Closest intersection here, the main intersection would be Harvard, and I want to say that is Fuller, actually. So we will be taking the entirety of this space. It won't be demised. It'll be purely for Wonder. In terms of and here's a picture of the street frontage. In terms of improvements, the facade here is in pretty good shape. So we're not doing much by way of facade improvements. We are going to be appearing before the board. Our signage vendor will for signage shortly. I know that is, I believe it's currently on an agenda to be heard to get that approved. The space itself, like I said, it's about 3,500 square feet. Front of house is about 800, with the back of house about 2,700 square feet. We'll have seating for 13 guests, including 3 counter seats. Self-serve kiosks, as I had mentioned, and 1 public restroom. There is a rear entry here, which is great from the Fuller lot for deliveries of product coming to the location, which is perfect. I know in some conversations there was some questions brought up about where deliveries would be coming, so we would be utilizing that Fuller lot to the rear. So this is a pretty standard layout for us. We're usually about 25% front of house, 75% back of house. Did get some renderings for everybody, so you can get a taste of or a feel of what we're going to be building out here. So these are renderings for this specific location. I think we've come a long way in terms of where we were 2 to 3 years ago to where we are now. We put a lot of care and thought into that front of house design. We want it to be a warm, welcoming space, intuitive, and making it as convenient as possible for our guests. So like I said, seating for 13 with some counter seats. We do have a waiting area, right? You see there's a built-in pickup shelf here for both couriers that are doing deliveries and for customers that are picking up. That's built right in, and there is a waiting area right over here for customers that are happen to be there before their food is ready. You can see self-serve kiosks over here in the back corner in the top right render. That's where customers would be ordering if they come on site. So we do not have any traditional wait staff. In this case, everybody self-buses. These are our illustrative photographs of sites that we have opened up in the Boston area. So Greater Boston is actually the first market where we're getting, it's a refreshed new design for the front of house. So we try to make it colorful. Like I said, we try to make it warm and inviting. And I think we've done a really good job of executing a design here for the front of house that people feel welcome in. In terms of signage, I don't have any renders specifically for this location, so I do have some illustrative photographs of existing sites. You can see there's some changes in our logo. We recently changed our logo 3 to 4 months ago. So what you see on the right half of the screen and then the top left photograph, that's our current logo. But these are just meant to be illustrative examples of what we do by way of signage. So with that, just some operational details. We are our standard of hours of operation are 10 a.m. to midnight. We serve lunch and dinner at this point, but that's not to preclude us from expanding to breakfast at some point. I've been with the company for a long time, so changes come quick, and they come very quick. So I can see us expanding the breakfast at some point in the near future. Service area is generally a 12 to 15 minute drive time, and that's namely because we want food being delivered hot. So we tend to limit our service areas, and that's why you do see 20 plus locations planned for that greater Boston area and the Boston Metro itself. It's because we keep those service areas pretty tight. And this is just some examples of some of the partners and restaurants or cuisines that would be available out of this specific location. So with that, that is my presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thanks, Jason. I think he really hit all the main points that I was even going to follow up with. So I guess I would turn it over to the board if there are any questions.
Sure. I think the first question is, what percentage of your business is delivery?
So generally out of a location like this, we would see about a 60 to 40 split, 60% delivery, 40% a mix of dine-in and pickup.
And when you're on a busy street with kind of a narrow path through like Harvard, how do you deal with delivery vehicles, double parking, et cetera? How do you ensure that there's flow of traffic through the neighborhood?
So with any restaurant that's opening, there's always a learning curve, but generally once you're open, you tend to see the same couriers and delivery drivers coming to the site time and time again. And what we do is we provide direction to couriers, note that they cannot double park, areas they can and cannot wait. The Fuller lot in the back provides a great opportunity because there is an alley that is right next to our building that runs right to Harvard to the front of house. So there's plenty of opportunities here to ensure that there's going to be no obstructions on Harvard. Beyond that, we don't necessarily dictate what mode of transportation couriers and delivery drivers are using. What we tend to see in these types of environments, in these types of neighborhoods, is that it is predominantly bicycle couriers as opposed to vehicular. So I'd be less concerned about traffic being blocked or obstructed on Harvard, given the Fuller lot in the back and the mix that we would expect between bicycle and vehicular couriers here.
Yeah, and then I just think the other thing is the Fuller lot is very popular with the senior center. There's spots that are designated for the senior center, but there's never enough. There's never enough parking. Fortunately, you're over at the other end of the Fuller Street lot. Your back end is there, which is good. That's not as often used for that type of parking. I would just say, please be sure with your deliveries and so forth that you're not creating a situation where you are obstructing the public parking in that area, particularly the parking designated for the senior center. That is really of critical importance because we don't have a lot of parking close to the senior center, and for some folks that's with mobility issues in particular, that's really critical.
Understood. Yeah, we'll make sure that direction is clear.
Other questions from members of the panel? All right, I think we can recommend approval of this as part of the board's miscellaneous agenda. We appreciate the presentation and welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to getting open.
All right. Next, the question about new common victual, question of approving the application for Cupcake Therapy Brookline LLC, 288 Washington Street. The hours of operation and entertainment will be Sunday through Saturday, 5 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., Seating consists of 28 inside dining seats and no outdoor dining. Who do we have on the application for cupcake therapy?
Yes, here.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
What can you tell us about the business?
Okay, so my name is Sharonda White. Shirley White. And we are the co-owners of Cupcake Therapy. We are currently a premium nut-free, allergy-friendly cupcake company. We have almost 100 options of regular, vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free, soy-free, and halal cupcakes and cakes. What we are proposing is actually opening something that's a little bit different. It's a non-alcoholic wine and dessert bar. There are no dry bars in Eastern Massachusetts at the moment, which makes no sense to us. And so we plan to open one. By day, we will have the cupcake shop, and then the evenings, non-alcoholic wine and dessert bar. That's why the hours look so long. The earlier hours really just for, us to bring in the cupcakes and whatnot, and not for us to actually be open to the public. That won't happen until 8 a.m. And then the 11:30 a.m. is when our staff leave, but we'll close around 11.
Yeah.
And so what we're proposing is just that. It's a non-alcoholic wine and dessert bar. We will have a number of regular, vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free, soy-free desserts and wines.
It's exciting. So when you got that 5 a.m. opening time, you do know just that the quiet hours last until 7:30 typically. So if you're getting deliveries, just make sure that those aren't during quiet hours.
Right. And the 5:30 a.m. that was really just to be safe. The reality is if we're opening at 8, we'll probably have deliveries coming around like 6:30ish. We just wanted to have more hours versus less.
Got it. Yeah, just especially in those early morning hours. People call us about the backup alarm and so forth. So we do travel.
Oh no, we won't have large trucks.
Okay.
So there will be no backup sounds or anything.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you saw the building department approved 17 seats as opposed to 20.
Yes. So I do have a question into them about that, just to make sure that it's 20 people as opposed to, because they have 17 customers and 3 employees.
17?
We'll never have 3 employees at the time.
Okay.
So I will call into them to see if we can just say 20 people.
Yeah, and the department can talk through that with you. So we'll make sure we'll make sure that gets resolved before next Tuesday.
Okay.
Go through it that way.
Thank you.
Yep. And so, and you have pest control and so forth, everything taken care of there.
We're not even open yet. We already have pest control. We already have trash pickup. We already have everything set.
Great. Any other questions from members of the panel? Where is the dumpster for your?
So there are 2 bins and they're actually inside. So there's this room behind the restroom that was for the washer and dryer for the previous for Curds & Co. We're not going to have a washer and dryer, so we have it there.
And then the dumpster they're taking out to Washington Street, or are you able to get it?
Washington Street.
Other questions? Okay, I think with the building issue resolved, we can conditionally recommend approval of this on the miscellaneous agenda for next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the neighborhood. Excited to have you. All right, next. Question of approving the application of a manager and alternate manager. Raul Miller and alternate managers Alex Pappas, Destiny Dixon, and Ryan O'Neill for Deal Cannabis LLC at 1351 Beacon Street. Who do we have on this application? Good morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm Raul Miller.
Nice to meet you. What can you tell us about your application to be managed diesel?
We submitted it a little while ago. We just had to update some content that it requires, some IDs. So just finalize that. It's following up now.
Great. Everyone is trained in product control. Everyone knows, we had issues early on in our cannabis store process with, product control. People, the stuff getting out on the street as opposed to, I know the state maintains strict requirements on that, but you're trained in that. You know how to deal with all that. Yes, and security there. Yes, great. Other questions from members of the panel?
I apologize. I just don't have access to the meeting files. Did you have background in working in cannabis?
Yes, 5 years.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and we got the letters of recommendation. All that is clear. So, all right. Other questions? Great. I think we can recommend approval of these applications as part of the miscellaneous agenda next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for the patience.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right. Last, not least, change of lodging agent for 89 Marion Street. Question to approving the change of lodging house agent from Abigail Hoff to Marianne Denise at 89 Marion Street, Brookline, Massachusetts. Who do we have on this application?
Hi, my name's Abby. I'm the previous agent, and I I do work for the company as well, so I'm just kind of representing, but Marion is the new agent.
Morning to you both. Thank you for waiting. So for Ms. Denise, you know that you've got to live on the property. You'll be on the on site 24 hours. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I see you passed the background check and all of those things. How many residents usually do you have there?
Do you know, Abby?
Yes. So we have 29 units there. So we typically have anywhere from, I would say, 29 to or double.
Got it. Other questions from members of the panel? Okay. I think we can recommend approval of this as part of the board's miscellaneous agenda next week. Thank you very much. Thanks again for waiting.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes the business of the licensing panel for today. We will see some of you next month and anyone else next month. Thank you very much.